This is episode 220 of How About That Cigar, recorded live at the Corona Cigar studio. We have Steve Saka on the show to talk about Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust and some other industry topics. Please take a minute to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Now on with the show.
Corona Cigar Company is your one-stop shop for all your cigar needs. Whether that's a brand new humidor, a box of those new cigars you've been waiting for, a top-of-the-line cutter or lighter, a place to enjoy the finest cigars and spirits with friends, or the only cigars grown right here in the Sunshine State, we've got you covered. Come visit one of our retail locations for the ultimate cigar experience. Visit us online at coronacigar.com.
How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Corona Cigar Studios for episode 220 of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you so much for watching live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and if you're listening after the fact on the audio podcast, thank you so much for making How About That Cigar a part of your regular audio podcast rotation. Take just a minute, if you would, please join us in the comments. Let everybody know what you're smoking, what you're drinking, along with us this evening. We have a fantastic special guest coming up in just a few moments. But let's bring on our fantastic, wonderful producer, Justin. Justin, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you all?
You know what? It's snowing.
Yeah, there's that.
So what are you gonna do? You know, it is what it is. It's, you know, part of life. So it's Minnesota, it's snowing, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Halloween, you know, it's whatever. What are you gonna do?
For the kids.
Yeah, it's the snow is for the kids.
Can you guys remember 1991 Halloween snowstorm?
So I
was in Texas. No, Oklahoma. Yeah.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah.
I moved from that's the year that I moved from late summer. I moved from Indiana to Wisconsin, but Wisconsin, like right by the Minnesota border. So yeah, I got that baptism because that whole area caught the blizzard too. Mm-hmm. So I caught that baptism of up north winters, as basically within a few months of me moving up here.
So we were having a Halloween party, and we had to drag these kegs, 6 of them, up to a house, and we had everybody show up still, but no one left.
Oh,
we partied all night long.
Nobody could leave. Yeah.
So it was a hell of a night.
It was. I remember also when I was a kid, and this, if anybody was in sort of the central Midwest, like Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, in 1978, there was a horrible blizzard, and we got absolutely destroyed. And I mean, I was just a kid, but that we got hammered.
Well, I mean, could be in South Padre, you know, and like I think 2004 was the first time I've ever snowed down there in like 75 years. They didn't know what to do with the snow.
I'll take it.
It was following you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was down South Padre and it snowed, and like somebody sold, like I think they sold a snowball for like, you know, $10,000 or something. Somebody bought it off eBay or some stupid shit like that.
I would take it over the like 4 straight weeks of like minus 20 bone chilling temperatures.
See, I'm different. I'd rather get the cold rather than the snow.
No.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want either. That's the problem. I've lived up here in the north for what now 32 years. I don't like any of it. I want to live in Texas or Florida. And
that just don't sound bad.
But my wife was born and raised here. She loves it here, and I'm never leaving.
Texas is calling me.
Although she has hinted, now that your kids are getting older, and she's hinted like maybe someday we could, you know, go so. So I just keep pushing gently, like little hints, like, okay, you know, wouldn't it be nice to go somewhere warm right now, or what if we didn't have to worry about going if we were just always somewhere warm?
I have a question for you.
What's that?
If you did move somewhere warm, would you still be a Green Bay Packer fan?
Of course I would.
Oh,
that was
that's
mean,
like asking if you'd still be a Jets fan. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, we're not fair weather fans.
I was trying to segment into our next.
I know.
Oh,
so
you mean there was a game yesterday?
Well, honestly, I didn't really change I didn't change the show notes much for this. Green Bay sucks. That's exactly what I had on the notes last week. Green Bay sucks,
and they still suck.
But the Vikings don't.
The Vikings are gonna suck again because we lost our quarterback.
The Vikings, regardless of how you feel about the Vikings, you never want to see a good player go down with a really horrible injury. And this is the year of the Achilles.
And it's the turf. It's a shitty turf that they're putting in, and you could see it pop too when he stepped back.
It was a non-contact injury. It was basically the exact same thing that happened to Rodgers 6 weeks ago. It was ugly.
Maybe I'm the curse. Those are my two favorite fans.
You're not the curse.
Two favorite teams.
I promise you're not the curse.
All right.
So, but the Jets, I mean, they won.
It was the ugliest game this year.
They barely beat the Giants.
The ugliest game this year.
In overtime. That was an ugly. I watched the highlights. That was an ugly game, bro. But I mean, they say a win is a win, but that one almost didn't feel like a win if you're a Jets fan.
I won 5 cigars from Michael because he's a Giants fan.
Nice. There you go. There you go.
And I already had mine paid off, and then they kicked that last second field goal to go into overtime.
Yeah. So as we speak, World Series Game 7, Rangers at Diamondbacks. Game 3, World Series.
Ooh, I'm like, where was I this week?
World Series Game 3, and I'll see if I can grab the score here. It's evened up 1 game apiece right now. I really want to see Texas win this. But I don't know. The Diamondbacks are. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm happy for them. Oh, it's 3-0 Rangers right now, so I'm happy about that. Good. The Diamondbacks it's such a nonsensical story why they are as good as they are right now. Yeah. I mean, they got good players, but they were just nobody in the world picked them to even make it to the World Series, let alone have a chance to win. Ooh, Raul's got that bad boy fired up.
Me and Justin, he's got the big brother one.
He's got the big
little guy.
I'll reveal my cigar in just a minute here. And finally, last but not least, it's really kind of sad the way they've started out. The Minnesota Wilds have not such a roaring start to the season. The Wild are 3-7 right now. So I mean, what are you going to do? We do have the Golden Gophers that are number 1 in the country. Gophers are number 1 in the country, and they're doing. I think they're going to make it to the Frozen Four again.
I think so too. Yeah. I think I'm hoping that all 4 spots are Minnesota teams.
That it could happen.
3 out of it could
be 3 or 4. It'd be U of M. It'd be UMD, and it'll be St. Cloud. So I think it's very possible all 3 teams. Although I don't know how they work out the brackets for it. So I don't maybe not, but it's gonna be a good year.
Who's on the show tonight?
So we have a fantastic special guest on the show, a returning special guest on the show.
I love his haircut.
I do. Well, yeah, you guys have the same barber. Absolutely. But definitely, I think it's time to bring our special guest on.
We have to bring.
And as always, on How About That Cigar Live, special guests are brought to us by our friends at Drew Estate. And the Liga Privada Selección de Mercado is handcrafted to highlight the bold characteristics of a specially curated Connecticut Criollo Capa leaf that's grown exclusively for Drew Estate by one farmer in the famed Connecticut River Valley. The name is Spanish for market selection, inspired by the old practice of selecting wrapper leaves for certain national markets by color. Drew Estate chose only the most beautiful Rosado Connecticut Criollo leaves to grace Selección de Mercado. The Rosada Capa leaf surrounds a blend of tobaccos from Mexico, Nicaragua, and Pennsylvania to create a cigar that is deeply balanced, bold, and sophisticated. This cigar measures 6x52 and is available in 10-count boxes to international markets. For more information, please visit drewestate.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, if you would please put your hands together and help us welcome to episode 220 of How About That Cigar Live from Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust, Mr. Steve Saka.
Good evening.
Welcome back to the show, bro.
I love the fact that Drew Estate is paying for me to pimp my shit on your show.
Yeah, absolutely.
God bless them, man. They're the best in the whole wide world. I love those guys.
Absolutely. You gotta get that money, man. We got echoes. Is that Justin? Oh,
is that echo from me?
Oh, I think it went away.
I got at it.
Echo.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. It's all good. Echoes are.
I can switch to another microphone.
No, I think we're all good. It just
try to
sometimes
do
it takes a second to adjust. So, Steve, what are you smoking?
I am smoking. Oh, really interesting. Let's see if this works. I go up to this camera. Will it zoom it on that?
Is that the Halligan?
Yeah, it's a Halligan.
Is that a beautiful Halligan?
Nice. Raul is
My
drooling.
man.
Raul is drooling because he's got questions about the Halligan, but we'll get to that, Raul. Well, it's okay. We'll get to that because you. So, Raul, tell everybody what you're smoking.
I'm smoking something different now.
You're smoking
Mi Korea.
Mi
Querida. See, I'm Puerto Rican. I still can't say shit.
Papa
Right.
Saka.
Papa
Wait a
Saka.
minute. You're Puerto Rican and you can't say mi querida?
I've been white-niced. I've been in Minnesota too long.
You're whiter than me, dude. Look at the camera. Come on.
It's a long story. You speak a little Spanish,
Yes.
and most Spanish words you can't pronounce.
Yes. My
Yeah.
mother says I speak enough Spanish to get me in trouble or out of trouble.
Right. Taco truck Spanish does not count as Spanish for the record. Let's be clear.
Justin, what are you smoking?
And I have the Saka Khan,
The big boy.
the big boy. So yes,
That's a fake living room. That isn't your real grand piano back there?
of course it is.
No.
Yeah, that's totally 100% real. He's not at all sitting literally right
Right next.
4 feet right over there.
Yeah.
Like I say, Drew State's paying the big bucks. You guys all got grand pianos in your foyer.
No, the real background is my snowblower and my pressure washer, and it's just doesn't make for good TV.
Yeah.
Steve, what are you smoking? I mean, what are you drinking tonight? Excuse me.
I went with the Old Forester,
Oh,
the 1920
I got a bottle of that, right?
Prohibition style.
Oh no,
It's gone.
I drank it all already. So I've got so this is the 4th week now that we've done this. So Raul for the last 4 weeks has brought me a mystery pour from one of the bottles in his collection at home. So I have no idea what this is.
It's a Kentucky bourbon.
It's a Kentucky bourbon. Okay, so I know that much.
Yeah.
And it is a little high proof. And it's a little thin, but it's not too watery. It's got decent texture. It's not like super viscous,
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to compare to last week's.
but it's the stag from last
I
week.
can say this. My shit's really good, so I don't really care what you're drinking.
Well, and I decided tonight to fire up the Bewitched.
The Bewitched.
So one of my actual favorites.
And now that we released Krakatoa, no one will ever buy another Bewitched.
I will. I'll find them and I will track them down. But I'm gonna fire up my cigar on the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust toast cam. Let me grab our little friend back here.
Oh, I actually give you guys money.
And this
Did
beautiful
I,
thing.
did I sign up again to give you money again next year yet?
I just sent out the stuff, but I'll.
Oh, dude, you're in trouble because I do all my commitments in October. So you basically have one day to get me to say yes.
Oh,
If I don't fucking agree to it in October, it doesn't happen.
Are you saying yes? Did I hear you just say yes? You got
No,
it?
I said you got one day to get me to say yes.
We're here right now. We're here.
It'll-
We're here.
Let's see how this toast cam bullshit goes because I've never seen this before. So let me see if I'm getting my money's worth. Let's
right.
see what we got.
all right, here we go. Firing up right now. So, when lighting your cigar, it's important to be patient, pay close attention to detail, and focus on the tobacco. In the same way, Steve Saka brings those same qualities to the ultra premium cigars of Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Patience, close attention, and focus on the tobacco are the qualities that Saka and Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust have become known for.
Stop.
Oh, God.
How much am I actually paying? What is the rate for that?
Honestly, off the top of my head, I don't recall.
Let me say this: if it's more than $300 a year, you can learn those fucking lines. You don't have to read them with your eyeballs all wacky and shit, right? I mean, come on. I mean, it's like this is your gig. Learn your lines. I mean, I'm assuming this is episode what, 220?
220.
So this means that you've done this so many times. You think after all those times, you wouldn't have to be like, and my mother, come on.
I'll memorize it. So let's see if I can get through the rest of it without looking.
Oh my God, there's more?
Oh, there's more. There's plenty more. No, there's not that much more. All right, so I'm not looking at the camera. Patience, close attention, and focus on the tobacco are the qualities that Saka and Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust have become known for. From Sober Mesa to Umbagog, Dunbarton.
Your screen.
So what am I? Oh, look at the camera.
Yeah,
look at the camera.
Check his mic.
Here we go. From Sober Mesa to Umbagog, Dunbarton has a blend that will fit your palate, your mood, and any occasion. Visit DunbartonCigars.com to learn more.
So we were talking about
We were doing the toast cam, and then we were going to talk about the Halligan.
the Halligan.
Because Raul, being a firefighter, you're chomping at the bit.
I am.
You know what's so weird about that is
That I got a job?
no. Look, I normally come up with the names for all the exclusives, right?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody really has any say whatsoever in them, and but this is one where Brett gave it to me because I guess there's a retired fire chief that's a regular in his shop.
Yeah.
And he wanted to make something to honor this particular customer. So it was one of the rare times I actually made the brand, the name, and like I didn't even do the helmet design. I tweaked it a little bit to make it more silk screenable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the whole thing was his idea, and I don't know. I never think about cigar smokers in like demographic boxes. You know, and a lot of companies do, particularly now. All the new companies, they all think about that because they're putting everybody in a lifestyle box and trying to, how do I appeal to the urban and how do I appeal to the rural and how do I appeal to the black guy and how do I appeal, you know what I mean? How do I appeal to the older generation? So they're like always doing that, and I'm just doing whatever the fuck I want, not really thinking about it. And I just think, oh, that's cool. I like that. So that's how it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, oh, Halligan's a cool name. That's a pretty cool thing. I mean, and I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. I didn't realize how many firemen were going to actually be excited that there was a cigar called the Halligan. Separate of, they don't know anything about the damn cigar. They just see a fire helmet and the name Halligan, like, I gotta buy a box of that shit, man. Well, that's how like easy you are as consumers. That's how gullible you are that you could just. I always wonder how do those companies that like just do, you know, the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, you're like, how do they ever stay in business? Because those cigars just suck. You know what I mean? But yet year after year, those companies are still there. They're still around. And you see them in certain like industries, right? I'm gonna let you guys name the names, but we all know these brands that are like centered around something like super niche-y, right? And I really never understood. I didn't appreciate the power of what suckers the consumer audience is. That if I name something,
I light him up?
whatever, the Jesuit monks, that every Jesuit monk in the world is going to want a box of the Jesuit monk. So you know what I mean? So I got to start rethinking my branding strategy completely as a result of Halligan. I'm like, wow.
That shit's going to be sold out within a week.
I don't even know if it'll last a week because it's one of the rare. So it's, I don't know. I'll tell you what, it will last. I don't even know how Brett's going to sell it. I don't even know if he has an online website.
I'm buying half of them, so don't worry about it.
Or, you know, via, you know, whatever, telephone. I have no clue, number one. So he doesn't have an online website. It'll last because he won't be able to handle the phone calls and the emails. But I've released a bunch of exclusives this year, but most of them have been repeats. So there's only been 2 fresh ones. The Don Derma Golden Child was a totally fresh blend, okay, that no one had ever smoked before. And then this Halligan is a totally fresh blend that nobody has ever smoked before. So look, you could argue what Wagashi is, but look, Wagashi is a deviation of Sober Mesa Brulee Blue. So if you like Brulee and you like Brulee Blue, it's pretty much a slam dunk that you're going to be happy with Wagashi. You know what I mean? It's not like totally unknown, but Halligan is a totally no one but me and a few people, in the factory have smoked.
So Brett J does have a cult following. I go down there every April for his boil. He's got a huge following.
Yeah.
And I let a bunch of the guys from Minneapolis Fire and St. Paul Fire, and they're like, hey, who do we get to get these? And yeah, just because it says Halligan, and I vouch for your cigars. So you'll be okay.
I don't care. I got Brett's money. This part is it doesn't make any more money, so I'm done, right?
So real quick, there's one more, and I hate to do this, but there's one more technical thing. Steve, when the volume goes up on your voice, the microphone shorts out. So if you could switch to a different mic or change the sensitivity on your mic or something, it's.
Yeah, hold on. Like I told you, I'm playing with this new crap. So.
Oh yeah, love it. I mean, this is the least of our worries compared to a power outage a few minutes ago. I mean, it's barely even snowing. It can't be the snow.
All right. Is this one any better?
Yeah.
Let me yell into the camera.
Oh, that's way
Much
better.
Let me turn you up.
I couldn't tell. So I just learned a lesson. The Yeti mic is better than the new camera.
See, but earlier it was working fine for you.
Yeah,
You sounded crystal clear and everything.
Talking loud though.
I think it's the volume,
Yeah.
and we need to hear Saka in his true full voice.
Yeah.
So
Beating up on firemen, firefighters.
he's
Telling
not
us
beating
how-
up on
Telling us how
firefighters.
dumb we are, and because we want to buy your
it's
cigar.
Fireman, it's just I never realized that there would be that much appeal just based on the branding of you know what I mean. Just didn't cross my mind.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting an echo. What the hell is going on?
You hear an echo now?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't hear it. Do you hear it?
I don't hear it.
No. Are we good?
All right. I'll live with it.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming through the broadcast.
So you want to tell us a little something about that cigar besides dumb firemen are buying it?
Medium plushish, I guess, would be the best way to call it. Like 6.5 on a 10-point scale, strength wise. I mean, it's a very. It's not like a super complex blend. I mean, you're looking at an Ecuador Habano H2000 Kappa. We use that same San Andres Negro from the Cultivo Tanto crop. I use that as binder on quite a few of my blends because it's a really nice complementary binder to a lot of the wrapper materials. And then it's a pretty straightforward kind of blend. It's a combination of two jalapa tobaccos from two different jalapa farms. One is a really thin seco that is the Base. The bulk of the cigar is what we call a Viso Grande. Viso Grande is kind of a made-up thing that kind of describes Viso that's physically larger. Okay.
Okay.
So it's kind of a lower Viso priming, but then really what bit of punch or spice or however you want to describe it comes from Pennsylvania sleeve leaf, but from a particular seed. It comes from one of the original Type 41 seeds. So it's more of because like all tobaccos, they've been hybridized so many times, and this is a more, I don't want to say natural state, but yeah, it's kind of a good way. It's kind of more of an origin seed for Pennsylvania seed leaf, the Type 41 seed, and that makes the Ligero, and it's just a really smooth, pleasing kind of chocolatey cigar. I was also, one of the things it's so when you're making all these different blends, you got to try to stay away from making something that tastes just like other stuff you make. You know what I mean? So I really try to focus on creating something new or different with everyone, which means some people that'll smoke it'll be disappointed. They'll go, "Oh, I wish it was, strong like the Golden Years or like the Papa Saka." and other people go, "Oh, it's too strong. I wish it was more like the Brulee Blue." And some people go, "Oh, that's really a perfect cigar." So I never really know. It's a really good cigar. What people will ultimately think of it and where they rank it in the lexicon, I think it's just going to depend on what you like to smoke.
Okay. And is that, I can't tell from the image while you're smoking, is that a Parejo or a box press?
No, it's a trunk press cigar.
Okay.
So it's kind of in between a firm and a soft.
Okay.
It's kind of a firm, schmirm. What would it be? It would be a
Foft?
a fifth. Right? Firm and soft. It's a fifth. I don't know. It's in between the two. I mean, I played around with a bunch of different presses. I mean, look, the first reason you press cigars is because people just like to buy pressed cigars. It's just another way to market them and sell them. But I tend to vary the press, if you notice, on a lot of my cigars. Some are like a really firm, tight press, and other ones are a very soft kind of press. And I play with different presses because it affects the combustion rate, and that combustion rate has such a huge impact on the cigar. So I play around with how much I press any given blend because it significantly changes it. Like I made a cigar for Secreto where I did the original Don Derma blend, the one that everyone says is mild and nuanced and elegant and yada 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 and super smooth, and I did it without pressing it. And I think they're going to be really surprised at how significantly different the cigar tastes unpressed versus pressed.
Okay.
We got a question from Chris.
Yeah, that's a good question. What produces chocolate notes? Is it a combination of tobacco? So what most people would
fucking clue.
Okay.
Yeah, it's dude. I mean, what produces chocolate notes is if I buy some wipey wipe from the people at Flavor Cabinet or at Maine in Mexico, and I can make a chocolate flavor. I don't know. It's just you're trying to write a description, and it's just every time I smoke it, I just keep getting chocolate. It just reminds me of chocolate, and it just varies between kind of a lighter, creamier chocolate, then a darker chocolate, and then it does have a little bit of light spice to it. So that's why I think I think the first word I used in the description was Mexican chocolate, right? And I think that's a really good way to describe it. It's like a Mexican chocolate. It's but not a bitter Mexican chocolate, like when they make Mexican chocolate in Switzerland, Mexican chocolate, right?
Yeah.
Total cultural appropriation, but let's not kid ourselves. The Swiss know how to make chocolate, okay?
Yeah.
Our friends in Central America, they're great at growing cacao, but they aren't the best at making chocolate.
Yeah.
So it's a box of 10.
Yep.
Could you tell us the retail price?
I don't know the retail.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I just know what Brett gave me. So and I don't know what the taxes are in Virginia. So
Right.
I can't I don't want to say a price and be wrong about it. I mean, I can say this. It's going to be like all of these cigars that I make. It's going to be 15, 16, 17, 18. It's going to be somewhere in that price point.
That's all right. I've been saving up.
That's just where it's going to end up. Unless it's in California, then it'd be like $48 a piece or something.
Yeah.
Right.
But so I'm always surprised. Well, okay, I understand. Barbara Amarilla sells at the price it sells because they're selling it to people outside California, and that's why they can sell it at that price.
Yeah.
Okay? And then for the people that buy it in California, they add the tax separately. I always wonder about like Rockies. The price that when you buy it is without the tax, right? But how does that work when you log in from a site? When you put a shipping address in, they just add that crazy 75% New York tax. See, I really don't know anything about the sales of these things. I don't get involved in it.
You just make good cigars and let it fall where it falls.
I make the cigars. I write a couple posts to pimp it and tell people that it exists. Give them some basic pointers. And look, it's up to the retailer to retail, is my opinion. And if they're not willing to retail, then why do I need them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, the more bad retailers there are, just is going to encourage some moron like me to just say, "Oh, I'm just going to sell everything direct and just cut everybody out of the picture." Now, that's not the path I want to go down. So I let retailers retail.
It's
Yeah.
what they do, and my job is to put shit in a box and smoke and be as pretty as I can be.
Oh, and you're that last part you're accomplishing, with flying colors.
Amazing. I don't know about this green color. I don't think it does my complexion well. I gotta, but yeah.
Well, it's you look like you just got back from a Hallmark movie trip to the pumpkin patch. So,
Dude, I live in New Hampshire.
I know, right?
The whole state is a Hallmark trip to the pumpkin patch.
That's right. So, one of the things that I thought about talking about with you tonight is, and also sort of fitting because tomorrow's Halloween, is some of the mysteries of the cigar business that some people are willing to talk about, some people aren't. And if we bring up a question that you really don't want to talk about, that's fine. We're just curious about some of these mysteries that we hear rumors about as cigar consumers, but we don't necessarily. And maybe we'll get different answers from different people. But the first one I want to start with is this.
Hold on. Did you say that was fine that he didn't answer the question?
But depending on the question,
That's Steve Saka. He don't give a fuck about anything. He's like a honey badger. I don't give a fuck about anything. He's gonna answer the question.
It actually does depend. I will try not to intentionally piss on somebody else's head.
Yeah, of course. And none of these questions are directed at any brand. These are more about the process of.
Sometimes midstream, I end up hitting someone by mistake. That's kind of the way it works.
That's just. I mean, that's just the nature of So one of the things that I've always been curious about, and I've never seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
But I've heard stories from different cigar producers before. So can you, at least in a nutshell, or maybe even broader terms, unwrap for us the mysteries of the caldera and what it means to cigar production and tobacco processing?
So first off, you have to understand that the word, it's like, first off, caldera is used for many different things because like all Spanish, they only have 78,000 words and they got to figure out how to, so a lot of words end up having multiple meanings. So you'll see some manufacturers call anything where they're somehow heating the tobacco as being a caldera. But that's really not what a caldera is. A caldera is where you are taking tobacco, you're putting it in it's like a steam vessel. Okay. Just imagine you have a pressure steamer. Okay. But it doesn't seal, so it doesn't steam at pressure, but it has a lid, and you put the tobacco in it and you crank that sucker up and you get the steam going. And it just sits basically in a steam bath for, it depends on the tobacco, how thick it is, because you got to be really careful, because if you over steam it, it'll get really, what's the word I'm looking for? Brittle's the wrong word. Tender is the word I'm looking for.
Tender, okay.
It'll become too tender. And also, if you over steam it, it'll end up getting like this kind of gray cast to it, which kind of like takes away from the reason they're steaming it in the first place, which is you can steam it to kind of take some of the bitterness out, because when you steam the tobacco, you're always taking flavor out of it. But the other thing that you're always achieving is you're always getting it to be a much darker color. And, so many consumers, they really have the palates of a mule. So they don't really appreciate when it tastes good versus when it tastes okay. And what they see is, oh, wow, this one's perfectly dark. This is super dark. This is going to be delightful. And so, calderas are very, very commonly used in our industry.
Okay.
And if you start looking at the brands with a careful eye, and you notice that the color's like always the same and always very even across the whole cigar, box after box, cigar after cigar. And when it comes to these Maduro wrappers, there's something going on there, because that isn't the way it works out. So, I mean, and you'll notice, you'll see it in my own brand. I mean, and this was even true back when I was at Drew Estate. I don't know what they do now, but, back in the early years, we obviously want the wrapper to be dark when it's a Maduro wrapper, a broadleaf style wrapper, or a San Andres Negro or whatever. But we would only take the wrapper in the Polones to the point that we felt like the burn was right. We felt that the flavor was right. And then we would stop it. And sometimes that means the tobacco ends up being a little lighter in color. Sometimes that means it ends up being a little uneven in color in places. I mean, depending on the average consumer, who basically, it's like looking at an Instagram model.
okay, that girl looks hot on the screen, but I guarantee you, you probably don't want to live with this chick. You know what I mean? She really isn't. She isn't that, right? Because if this girl is so narcissistic that all she's doing is figuring out her best angle and taking these fake pictures all the time, and she looks like this and she looks like that, what is a chick like that to actually live with, right? So I've always been a believer in, look, I want it to be aesthetically pleasing. I do. But I'm also a big believer in, hey, when it's ready and it's done, you just arrest the cologne. And sometimes that means Mi Queridas won't be as dark as you'd like them to be, but they taste the way they're supposed to taste, and they burn the way they're supposed to burn. And so that's what a caldera is. It's basically a steam table.
So would you say that there, and not, we don't have to name any names, but there are some cigar producers that use the caldera the same way that an Instagram model uses filters or makeup? Yeah.
It's a lot.
A lot. Yeah. And and
I'll tell you another place you see it. You'll see it often on like really cheap cigars.
Okay.
Right? Because you could take some really ugly wrapper. Okay. And I mean, look at some of the cigars in the cheap bundles sometimes. And that wrapper looks pretty damn good. Yeah, because they cook the living daylights out of it, right? It's got no flavor, but it makes a really pretty $2, $3 cigar, right?
Right.
So I mean, it's used widely in our industry. Okay. Yeah. But there are other places that don't, and there's a lot of places that use it on the cheap stuff and don't use it on the good stuff. Or you have some things like, I'll give you an example of a Caldera tobacco that I don't know, I used to be, but Drew Estate wasn't the first one to try to make T52 wrapper work. Okay. General Cigars actually was. Okay. And they couldn't get it to ferment no matter what they did. They just couldn't get it to burn. So they ultimately decided that they were going to put it in a Caldera. And that's how Partagas Black was born. Okay. So it doesn't make Partagas Black a bad cigar. They made the blend based on the wrapper being finished in this manner. You know what I mean? I liked Partagas Black. I don't know if I like it anymore. I haven't smoked it in many years, but it was a perfectly great cigar. So it's not always used to get one over on the consumer. It can actually be part of what you're doing. You know what I mean? I just don't happen to subscribe to it personally because I feel like every time you use the Caldera, you're sacrificing oil. Because basically what's happening is all that oil is just dripping down into the tray. So it always ends up giving you something that's more attractive, more neutral, but in my opinion, not as flavorful, not as rich. And that's just not the type of cigar I want to make. So I don't use it currently, but I'm also not above the law saying that maybe 10 years from now, Saka's going to make, Saka's $1 biddies or whatever. I guarantee you, I'm going to be steaming the crap out of that shit.
So it can be used for just one last piece on the Caldera is it can be used for good or for evil.
Oh, it's mostly evil.
Mostly evil. Okay.
I'm just being nice there.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you.
In the comments, I see a brand that's mentioned there. Yeah, I don't know for a fact, but yes, I would suspect that those wrappers go through a Caldera.
Okay.
Just from my experience, there's just no way they can't.
Yeah. Well, it sort of ties in actually with another one that I had, which is and I'm gonna skip one, Raul, actually. And this because you mentioned the T52.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, that it's classified or advertised as a stock cut Habano.
Right.
And so
like I noticed like the ad that came on before, that's the same T52. They just call it Connecticut Criollo. But again, I shouldn't be putting words in people's mouth, but it's a Connecticut grown Criollo. That's what T52 is. So, they don't want to call it T52 because you got your whole brand T52. And they're saying, hey, let's use the ones that are more reddish, that don't end up with the color hue that they want to use in the regular T52. Okay, we're going to have this special thing for Europe that's going to use these ones that are more of a reddish cast.
Okay. And is this the reason that the reason that a company would choose to put specifically stock cut leaves in a Caldera Is that because the curing process with stock cut tobacco is slower or yields a lighter?
No. I wouldn't say no. First off, let's not say that Drew Estate is putting their stock cut tobacco in.
Right. And I'm saying any company.
I can tell you when I was there, they weren't doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that they're doing it now. So I want that to be clear. I don't want anyone to misinterpret the question. Yeah, look, it can help because the fermentation process is so long that it gives you a way to dramatically shorten it.
Okay.
That is a possibility.
Can you explain stock cut to some of us that don't know what it is?
Yeah, so it's really simple. When it comes time to harvest the tobacco, when it's ripe, we do something that's called priming. And that's where we basically pull the leaves off, basically 2, 3, 4 at a time, starting at the bottom, working our way to the top. And what we do typically is we have the appropriate size workforce that they can work through an entire field in about a 5-day period. 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. They can make it all the way from the beginning of the field, priming these lower tobaccos, to then the next week go back to the front of the field again to work through it again. So you size your work crew so they basically can prime out, where it takes about 5 to 7 days, depending on what you're choosing. And I mean, we in the industry say that we prime tobacco because it's at its optimum ripeness, which is a benefit to you, the consumer. There's some truth to that, but the reality is we do it because it's just simply more efficient. You end up getting more weight because you're pulling the leaves off from the bottom. And if you have 6 primings, that means that tobacco had an extra 30 days to grow at the top of the plant before you get to priming that. And like with any agricultural product, your yield is determined on the weight per acre or weight per manzana. And that's where your money is, because when you sell that tobacco, you're selling it based on the per pound. So it benefits the farmer to prime tobacco. The other way it benefits the farmer is you don't need as much space in the barn because you basically are moving stuff in and out as you're doing the primings. So by the time you get to the last priming, those first couple primings, they may have already been pulled down and moved over to pre-industry, making space for you in the barn. So it's a much more efficient use of a smaller farm footprint. So there's a lot of reasons why priming tobacco makes sense that's separate of we're picking them at the optimum ripeness for the consumer. Now, traditionally, we didn't start priming tobaccos. That's something that really started happening, from everything I read, a little bit of it in the late 1800s, but it was really like in the early 1900s, 1910, 1915, where it kind of became a much more standard practice. But there were certain tobaccos that you couldn't prime because what happens is when you prime a tobacco and you hang it in the barn, what you're doing is you're basically doing a controlled necrosis. What you need to have, the leaf is going to die. It's going to start dying the moment you take it from the stalk. And what ends up happening is what we're trying to do in the barn is we're trying to keep the tobacco on life support so that it doesn't instantly die and start to rot. We want to kind of linger as it dies so it gives time for the chlorophylls to convert into sugar, which creates the curing process. Now, certain tobaccos, like Connecticut broadleaf, they're such physically large leaves, you can't stalk cut them because there isn't enough energy in the stem, to support the leaf in the curing barn. It's going to die and rot before it's going to actually cure. So what you have to do with broadleaf is you have no choice but to stalk cut it, because by stalk cutting it, you now have the entire stalk providing the life support system to allow the tobacco the nutrients and the moisture that it needs in order to make that conversion to this controlled necrosis. And as a result, almost always when you stalk cut, you end up with a universally thicker, heavier texture, more oily tobacco, a better tobacco. So from a perfect, purist point of view, you as a consumer wish everything was stalk cut. Okay, except for really thin stuff like Connecticut Shades and Cameroons, right? Because then you're interesting for something else. But with all these sun-grown tobaccos, you really would love for them all to be stalk cut. But here's the problem. You're now basically the farmer's giving away 35% of the weight at a minimum doing the stalk cut. Okay. And then instead of it taking, 30 to 45 days in the barn, you're now looking at it taking 50 to 70 days in the barn. And now you have to have room for all those stalks to be up on the spears. So, and it all happens simultaneously. So now you need way more barns because it's all happening simultaneously. You need way more barns because it's physically larger, and you're getting less tobacco because you're basically harvesting the bottom of the plant and the top of the plant at the same time, where the priming lets you get that heavier weight. So traditionally, we as an industry would only stock cut what we had to stock cut, which were like broadleafs.
Okay.
Seed leaf and that type of tobacco. And then, you got others, like they used to stock cut San Andreas Negro, but a lot of times what they've done is they kind of reduce that to, again, it varies from farmer to farmer, right? But it's not uncommon for that to be done in like 3 primings instead of 6 to 8 primings.
Good. Thank you for answering that. Can we bring up Brody's question real quick?
That's a good question.
See that, Steve?
Yeah, it was the Now Leave Me the Hell Alone. There was like 63 or 65, 67. There was a lot of blends.
Yeah, the Lancero. Are Lanceros just in general more difficult, or
No, they're easy.
oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah, because it's like you just need a monkey and a dart. I mean, it's like A with B, B with C, C with D, A with C, A with D, D with B. You have so little room to play with that it's really just a matter of just slapping a couple things together. Go, what does that taste like? What does that taste like? There's really there's not a lot of complexity. The reason why there were so many is because I don't like Lanceros, so I just kept trying to make something that I might actually be willing to smoke and buy. And in the end, Now Leave Me the Hell Alone was the best I could come up with. And I'm like, okay, enough is enough already. Who cares? It's a damn Lancero. Awesome. Lancero geeks will buy it, and it just doesn't matter. But Now Leave Me the Hell Alone was a good blend. But I mean, but in the end, and look, and when you get down to Lanceros, it comes down to basically 2 types. There's the strong, spicy, sharp Lancero that's really peppery. And then there's the really kind of mild, balanced, elegant Lancero. And there ain't a whole hell of a lot in between those 2 varieties of Lancero, really. Right. I mean, it's a very simple blend because there's no room to do anything. It's 38 ring gauge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can get 2 filler tobaccos in there. There's no room for you to do any sort of positioning. There's no room in there for you to do fancy stripping. You know what I mean? There's no room. So it's not, Lanceros are not hard. It's just, trying to make something that's worth smoking, repeat smoking, I think is a challenge.
Right. Another good viewer question. What did you think of the New England Cigar Expo? I saw a lot of pictures online. It looked like a good time.
Yeah, look, it's the first time they did it. I mean, they obviously ran into some problems with it. It was raining terrible the first night.
Yeah.
And then the second day where the weather was good, they couldn't roll up the tent walls, which would have been nice, but the sound was bothering the neighbors. And so I think it was a really good first showing. I mean, are there things that they can improve upon? Yeah, but in fact, I was just with Dave today, and he's the first one to say it. Yeah, we learned a lot. There's things that we already know we can do differently, but I think it was generally a good time. Look, I'm doing my what? I don't even know what great smoke we're on, like what, number 842 or something. I mean, and here it is all these years later, and Abe still changes it. He still refines it. Every year you figure out a way, okay, we did this last year. This worked really well. This didn't work as well. What are the major things? What can we fix? What can't we fix? And, so I think I know they intend on doing it again next year. And I think as the time goes on, I think the event will improve. Not that the first one wasn't good. I think it was a good event. I think it always comes down to one basic question. The people that went, do they feel like they got a value, and did they have an enjoyable time?
Right.
And if they felt like they had an enjoyable time and they feel as though the value was fair or the value was good or great, then it's a great event, right? I mean, that's kind of the criteria. And, I was there both the night before for the dinner, and I was there for the event day. I wasn't there as long on the event day. And I didn't hear anybody like complaining, going, I can't believe it. I heard no grumbles.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anyone post anything negative online. Did you guys?
No, it was all positive.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So one other mystery question, unravel for us, if you would please, the mysteries, because this is sort of a two-pronged question, because talking about aging cigars, and there's the aging that happens after the cigars are rolled and they sit in the aging room at the factory, and then there's the aging that we do as consumers. Some consumers like to smoke all their cigars right away, and that's great, and some like to smoke some of them and age some of them and stuff like that. What from a factory standpoint, are there any drastic differences in your mind, in your experience,
Well, first off,
what factories do?
Most factories don't age, really. Okay, what most factories are doing is it's what we call wicking.
Yeah.
When you first make a cigar, so like going back to the Caldera conversation, all your filler tobacco before it gets coming out of the bale, it has to go into an oven to slightly dry it out in order to make it the right texture in order to do the bunching, right? So the trip of tobaccos, all the filler tobaccos are getting slightly dried before they go to the table, and all the binder and all the wrapper is getting moistened significantly to make it real flexible and stretchy, so that we can actually use the binder and then pass the wrapper. And so what you have is you have a combination of the interior of the cigar tobaccos being too dry and the exterior cigar tobaccos being too wet. And what ends up happening is the interior of the cigar, because it's so dry and the outside's so wet, it sucks all that moisture right to the center of the cigar, like within 2-3 days. That's why you've always heard the old time saying that if you're going to smoke a factory fresh cigar, one that comes off the bench, you really should smoke it that day or the next at the very latest. Okay. And if you don't smoke it, then you really just need to wait for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And depending on the strength of the blend, and it's really not so much the strength, but it just tends to correlate this way. The thicker tobaccos take longer than the thinner tobaccos, and milder cigars tend to have thinner tobacco. So, like a milder Connecticut shaped blend, 4 rooms and esperates, which is just a fancy word for cool rooms, that might be enough time to wick out the moisture from the center of the barrel and get them to stabilize. And then heavier blends are going to take typically about 8 weeks, and some take as much as 12 weeks. And that first part of the aging process, I don't really count it as aging. It's just the necessary process of just drying the cigars and getting the humidity in them to equalize, really not the humidity, but the actual moisture content to equalize. And most factories, they try to be on a pattern of where because you only have physically so much space. So these cigars are getting boxed. Now, look, some of the factories that are on the lower end are cheaper, or the products are cheaper. They may not even give it 4 weeks sometimes. Those sometimes bang that stuff out really quick out the door. The better factories, they're going to allow the product to wick properly.
Yeah.
But it's really after the wicking part that you then get into intentional aging, right? Where you're saying, okay, I'm intentionally aging these cigars, like we do with Brule Blue, or like we do with, the Mikke Ritas, the blacks, and like we do with Paladin de Saka. But we typically, almost everything we make, I like for it to have about 4 months in the cool room before we pack it, which is about double the length of most companies, most things. And you'll notice it. You'll notice that we date stamp all our boxes, and when you flip over a box, that date code that's on the bottom of the box is the date of the potentially youngest cigar in the box.
Okay.
Because we lose the dates when we put them on the color sorting table, because once they come out of the wheels and we're now color sorting all the cigars and we're moving them around. So the date codes that we use on the box are whatever potentially the youngest possible cigar could be in that box. So, and you're going to find that you'll never see a date younger than 4 months. And almost always for most consumers, they're going to see something that's 6 months or more, and sometimes upwards of a year.
Yeah.
Because I just I'm an inventory guy. I like having cigars in inventory whenever I can.
Yeah.
So the goal is always to produce enough cigars that we build a standing inventory. I like to have 4 months to 16 months if it's Brule Blue or Paladins, on the shelves in Nicaragua. And then I like to try to keep at least 2 to 4 months here in the United States at all times. It's what I like. I'm not always successful at it. I mean, because the product just sells quicker than we can sometimes keep up with. But that is the ultimate goal.
And we appreciate just personally as consumers, and I know a lot of consumers who also appreciate dated stamps on boxes. It's just especially if we're full box buyers who like to do a little bit of our own aging at home. Maybe we've got a lower shelf in our cabinet humidor that we just like to experiment and try a cigar after 6 months and after a year, and just to see if we can smell or taste anything a little bit different from the aromas and the flavor.
My attitude is when I put it in a box, it's ready to smoke.
Oh,
the
absolutely.
only thing I can say to you as a consumer, look, particularly when it's brand new and it's just been landed in the country and it goes to retail, like red meat lovers. Everyone's getting red meat lovers. Just they've been through hell. I mean, they go from Nicaragua to Managua. They go from Nicaragua to the port in Honduras. They get on a ship. They get off a ship. They go on a train. They then come off a train. They go on a truck. They end up in our warehouse. And then we're shipping them, and they end up on another train or another plane. They end up at the retailer shop, and then you buy it online. It goes on another truck or train or plane to get to your place. These cigars are really heavily traveled, so it's almost always better to give them like at least 3 days to just kind of settle down a little bit from all their journey. But look, we as consumers, we don't do that. So the best I can say to consumers, look, when you get that new box, you just can't help yourself. Smoke one, but if you're not really happy with it, give it 3, 4, 5 days and then come back to it, because it really has gone through a lot of transitions, a lot of temperature changes, a lot of humidity changes, a lot of pressure changes. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, so it's always good to just give it a little bit of a break. And then once you get beyond that, then it just becomes a matter of just personal taste. Some people like cigars that are really super aged. I tend to not. I feel like there's a point of where it adds and it improves, but I also feel it gets to a point where you just start to lose too much flavor. You lose too much. It starts to degrade, and part of it depends on the blend. If the reason I smoke that blend is because I like that bit of pepper and that little bit of spice and those notes that it gives me, well, those are all going to soften with a year, 2 years, 3 years. So maybe the part of what I like about that kind of goes away. So it's really a matter of personal judgment.
Yeah. And I've been there before where you get that sort of bell curve on age, and you keep some cigars for a while, and then the next time you smoke one, maybe it went over that hill, and maybe it's especially noticeable, at least personally for me, with cigars that when they're first on the store shelf are it's a powerhouse strong cigar, maybe it's peppery, and then you keep some for a while, and then when you get over that hump, then it just some of that punch and some of that liveliness of the blend just seems to sort of have faded away.
Go up a little bit. There's a question about pesticides. Do most farms say they don't use pesticides?
Yeah, it's bullshit. There's only, to my knowledge, there's only one. You see the one product that the Placencia's brand is their organic,
right?
But no, look, they say that because that's what you guys out there want to hear, right? You're all on this crazy thing, but pesticides, fungicides, yes, it's all used, absolutely. The fact that, but they don't say it out loud because that's not what you guys want to hear. You want to hear some bullshit fairy tale story that you can't confirm nor deny. You can't prove different, right? And me saying to you that they aren't, well, they're gonna say, well, he's wrong. He doesn't know our farm. But what I will say to you is, I've been intimately familiar with tobacco farming for the last 3+ decades, and everybody uses pesticides. Everybody uses fungicides. Everyone uses different ones depending on what their individual needs are. Now, they're judicious about it. They're using stuff that's all approved to be used. Okay. Right. Stuff that's used on your corn and on your wheats and on your tomato plants, mostly on stuff that deals with nightshades, right? Because tobacco is a nightshade. So corn isn't a good example and wheat wasn't a good example. but I mean, they're using the same stuff that they're using on all the food you've been consuming too. You know what I mean? But you guys people just want to hear, oh no, we do it all organic, yeah. And we roll them all on the thighs of virgins, and yeah, there's never a drip of Saka sweat in any of your cigars. I mean, you know what I mean? It's and you got to remember, you're talking to the sales weenies. It's their job to sell cigars, right? What the fuck does some guy that spends 70,000 miles a year in his vehicle going from cigars to cigar store actually know anything about the cultivation of the tobacco in the specific cigars? They know what they're told.
Yeah.
And they know what they've been told to tell. But yes, the use of pesticides, fungicides, they are the norm. It's very rare that you won't see. You wouldn't have a crop.
Right.
There'd be no cigars.
Yeah, it's too hard to grow anything without managing that crop, no matter what it is, where it's grown. All right, the other mystery, and this is it's not really a mystery, but we're curious about different regions of the United States, different regions, of Central and South America, and even elsewhere, because typically there's a narrow range when it comes to cigar tobacco for the most part, across the premium cigar market. You're looking at Nicaragua, Honduras, Dominican Republic.
It really isn't.
Mexico.
You can grow tobacco almost anywhere.
And that's kind of
all the way from Terra del Fuego all the way up high into Canada.
Yeah.
It's just a question of where the seasons are optimal. The climate works the best, the soils work well, and even more importantly, where can you get the manual labor that's necessary to hand cultivate tobacco? Right? And you also have the benefit of wanting to grow it as close to the source. So the more that you can grow, I'm in Cuba, I have a factory in Cuba, grow tobacco in Cuba. You know what I mean? I have a factory in Nicaragua. It's better if the tobacco is grown in Nicaragua, cuts down on the breakage, cuts down on the shipping, allows you to monitor the crops better. And look, the reason why you're in a place in Nicaragua is because it's good for the cultivation of tobacco. Okay, you get 2 plantings a year out of it, so you get a double season essentially. And it's also where your workforce is, and you're able to make the product in the same place that you're growing so much of the materials that you use. Now, certain tobaccos, we can't grow. The Habano seed doesn't grow the same in Nicaragua as it grows in Ecuador, right? So there's certain things you can't really look. They're growing broadleaf seed now in Nicaragua. I'm sure somebody out there has a really great Nicaraguan broadleaf wrap cigar, but it tastes entirely different. You know what I mean? The structure looks the same. The texture feels the same. You can get kind of the same color, but the flavor isn't the same. It has that terroir component to it. But it has more to do with where do you have a labor force that you can actually afford to hand cultivate a crop, because so little is hand cultivated. I mean, you're talking about something that literally has to be hand tended, hand picked, hand hung, hand moved. There's, the only machinery you really see is, now we've gotten away from using the oxen to do the tilling of the field. Everybody's using tractors to do, the tilling. You've also now have carts that are drawn by the tractor to, help bring the leaf to the curing barn. They don't have to carry the baskets all the way from one end to the other end of the field. But it's a very hand-oriented labor process, and you need to be in a country where you can afford to do that labor.
Yeah. Well, because we know that you have, you've used, for instance, tobacco from Wisconsin before. But what other, do you regularly get a chance to try tobaccos from places that a lot of cigar consumers would sort of be surprised by from a location standpoint?
Not as much as you would think.
Okay.
I mean, part of it is I'm only interested in something that there's actually enough of it to do something commercially with.
Yeah.
Yeah, my geek factor, send me a Gavia, I'll play with it. It'll be nice, but what good is it? You know what I mean? Great. I got 50 leaves. Now what? You know what I mean? So what's the incentive for going through the work when you have nothing that you could actually turn into a viable product. So I pass on a lot of those kind of offers.
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak for other makers, but I have to think most of them would too, because like, you know, it's there's a level of mad scientist. There has to be a purpose behind why you're spending your time and your effort doing this. And it's not like when you're getting these sample hands that this is coming to you as finished materials that are ready to go. So now you got to put the effort into figuring out how to ferment it and work it and all these things. And there's just no tobacco.
Yeah.
Right. So you basically end up judging it as a rough coming out of the barn kind of crop. You know what I mean? Okay. Because look, we judge the tobacco at all the different stages. And look, we will smoke the tobacco before it's ever gone through any fermentation at all, just to kind of test it, see how it burns, you know, check the aroma on it. So we do it, but I mean, for the most part, nah. Everybody is working from a relatively, I don't want to say a limited palette because that's not fair. We have like so much more variety today compared to what they had 30 odd years ago. So there's a lot of different variations of hybridizations of tobaccos out there, but most of it's coming from a lot of the very same people. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Now, can you think of off the top of your head a tobacco that let's say somebody sent you some, and that really you tasted it and you thought, man, this would, again, your geek factor went into effect and you thought, man, if I could get more of this at a lower cost, I'd love to make a project out of it, but there's just not enough.
Well,
and where maybe it came from.
Cost part's irrelevant actually for me.
Okay.
Because the truth is, I'm happy to I'll just pass the cost on to the consumer.
Yeah.
Okay. So the consumer will ultimately decide whether it's worth the price for admittance or not worth the price for admittance, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's like with Sin Compromiso. We do the odd, cultivation of the Cultivo Canto crop, which adds the cost, makes the cigars cost $1.50, $2 more, pushes it up into Padron territory, right about there. And the consumer gets to decide, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? You know what I mean? So the cost for me isn't as big a factor. What's a bigger factor is there enough of it to do something with? And is it repeatable so that if I invest the time and the labor into first coming up with something, mm-hmm. and then I actually go do the effort of marketing that something, am I going to be able to make that same consistent product again in the future? Because if I can't, then there's much better ways to spend my time. You know what I mean? So for me, it's more about consistency, availability, the person growing it, what's their history. These are the things that are really far more relevant than the price. The price is the price. And look, and I get in this argument all the time with people, and I think they're starting to come around to my way of thinking, because my attitude is it isn't what you pay for the tobacco. It's a question of what you can sell it for.
Right. And
if the consumer is willing to pay more money for better tobaccos and more interesting tobaccos, then why do I care that it costs $4 more a pound or $8 more a pound or even just 35 cents a pound? It's not the business I'm in. It's also not the volume manufacturer. I don't have any, inexpensive bundles. I'm not even the only thing I got that's under $10 right now is Umbagog, and then we'll have Popetta. So I'm in that, most of my cigars are priced between like $13, $20, right? So that's the range that I'm in. So for me to spend some extra money on tobacco is fine. And then it's just up to the consumer to say, is a Mikke Rita for $14.50, is it worth the price of admittance? And they get to make that determination.
Yeah.
So what do you think you're drinking tonight, bud?
This is a tough one. I mean, it's and it's hard for me to say because I feel like in the future, and I'm trying to make shit easy on myself right now, that I should get like a list of 10 to choose from or something.
No, it's not going to happen.
But impossible. Like, how are you supposed to do that? I couldn't do that.
Figure it out. He knows.
Look, there's a little Freud in a glass. Sure.
He knows my collection.
I mean, I know your
I don't
collection,
drink,
but
so my collection's kind of small.
I know your collection, but I don't have it memorized. And there's a lot of bourbons out there. I mean, it's higher proof, meaning it's somewhere between, I feel like it's somewhere between 100 and 110.
Do you yield?
But I mean, as far as like picking it, I almost feel like it's something that I've had before.
Yes, you have.
And then I'm wondering if it's
Good God, just guess wrong and get to it. For God's sake.
all right. Is this oh damn it. Now I can't remember the name. It's not Old Scout, is it?
No.
All right, then that's my guess. Oh, it's Larceny Small Batch.
Yeah, I would lose at this game 100.
Yeah. Okay.
The object of this game is not only to have him figure it out, it's for him to get a little buzz and loosened up, you know.
Well, it's only 92 proof. This tastes hotter than 92 proof.
You know
so why?
Swamp from under.
Oh,
I put a little more fun Monday in there.
you have a sick mind. You have a sick mind.
So somebody asked a question about Angus, Black Angus.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about this
Yeah, it's
cigar.
yeah, it's
Same line.
So 3 years ago, I went to Jeff's farm. I've never been a huge fan of the Florida Sun Grown. It has this kind of has a very unique taste to it. I kind of call it twangy. Some people would call it sour, but I don't think that's really fair to it. It's just got this really unique kind of flavor profile to it. And look, again, that's kind of proves the case of terroir because that's a Habano seed that I believe he got from Aganorsa, right? So
I think
it's
so.
the same seed variety that they grow in Nicaragua, but when he grows it there in Central Florida, it takes on its own character. And look, it's very popular. There's a lot of people that love FSG cigars. It just never really suited my palate personally. And so it was just kind of one of those like little challenge projects where I'm like, you know what? Let me look at it. And I ended up picking the most FSG of the FSG. I picked the very top Corona leaf, so the most twangy of the twangy. I'm like, yeah, give me that. You know, if I'm going to figure out how to do something with this, let's just take the hardest deal, take that word end in the deck, and then we tried about 5 different test fermentations. Look, there's not enough of the tobacco. I mean, it was only 300 pounds, so I had like 330 pounds, I think is what it was actually. So we just kept slipping gavillas in these various polones, broadleaf polones, a Habano polone, an Ecuador Habano polone, because all these are fermented slightly different temperatures with slightly different turns, different moistures and whatnot, you know, to try to figure out what was the best way to ferment it, because there wasn't enough to build a whole polone out of. Plus, even if I did, I'm going to ruin the tobacco I have. So once we kind of figured that out, we then fermented it the way I decided I thought was the best, and then we aged it about an additional year in the bale, and I made a blend, and I'm really proud of the blend because it still tastes like FSG, and that twang is still there, but I personally like it. So I think it's kind of like one of these weird, for me, it's a Goldilocks thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I did, because look, the easiest thing for me to do is to like say, oh, well, it's FSG and throw the FSG away and just make something that tastes the way however I want it to taste. But that's not really fair to the tobacco, and that's not fair to the consumers that like FSG either, right? So I was trying to make something that for the FSG guys, I go, yeah, I get that that's FSG, but I was also trying to make something for the people that are like me that have smoked and go, nah, that's not really my type of cigar. You know what I mean? So I think I hit a really nice sweet spot. And honestly, the delay has been packaging and me being really busy and Jeff being really busy. So he doesn't like keep asking me where it is. But you're definitely going to see those cigars released in 2024.
Is that going to be exclusive to one shop, or is that going nationwide?
Well, again, it's Corona Cigar.
Yeah.
I'm going to make them, and he's going to decide what to do with them. I don't know whether that's nationwide. I mean, I'm not going to sell FSG, so I am going to deliver all the cigars to Corona Cigar Company, and then they're going to decide what to do. But you got to remember, there wasn't a lot of tobacco here. It was 300 pounds, right? So my rough off the back of the napkin calculation should be about 14,000 cigars. So it isn't a crazy amount of cigars that can be made. And look, and I'm gonna look. It's a lot of work to make so few cigars and to spend all that time trying to figure out how to ferment it and make these blends. And I'm gonna charge him a lot of money for it. So I imagine he's gonna charge you guys.
So, from a blend perspective, then with that FSG tobacco that you specifically worked with, those Corona leaves and with the different method of processing, what alongside that in the blends did you figure out was it a balance thing that?
No, I think it was more figuring out how to work the tobacco.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was really the key to it.
Okay.
Just figuring out how to best ferment that tobacco that I thought brought it to the right place.
Okay, so it wasn't like a blend thing with other tobaccos in the blend. It was more processing that FSG.
The blend makes a difference.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, I think the cigar was actually, I think for me, the biggest achievement was in pre-industry more than it was on the bench.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think getting the pre-industry right. I mean, look, you just think about it like when you're cooking, it always comes down to the ingredients, right? I mean, yeah, if you're like some, master chef, like a guy like Pepin Garcia, he can take some pretty shitty tobaccos and make a pretty decent cigar out of it. Okay. But for the most part, good materials end up giving you the springboard to make great cigars. So really the ingredients themselves are so key. And I always say this, I mean, I know everybody like romanticizes the factory, but really the factory is where they just take good tobacco and fuck it up and make it into bad. That's what the factory does. So you're really you're just trying to prevent the factory from doing you dirty. You know what I mean? Is what you're really trying to do. I mean, again, it's the part that gets all the pictures and all the love and all of this. But really, I mean, it's so important that the materials, when they get to the workers, be ready and be right and be properly cured, properly fermented, properly aged, properly sorted, properly stripped, properly dried in the oven, properly moistened in Desperillo. All of these things are really critical, and none of this stuff is romanticized at all, right? And it's always that, like the video of them, they're a torsador and they're doing this thing, and the art. The guy is literally, look, he's doing that 325 to 400 times a day, okay, in an 8-hour day, okay? It's really a question of mechanics and just getting in the groove and getting it down to what you're supposed to do. That part of it's really that's not a big deal at all. That's just hey, do it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't fuck up the materials I gave you.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst things. I mean, when they screw up a cigar, it isn't the cost of the labor. I mean, so in Nicaragua, on average, a typical mid-grade cigar, that pair is going to make somewhere around right now about 14 cents per unit. Well, that cut of wrapper he's got on the table, that cost me somewhere between, on the low end, 32, 33 cents, all the way up over $1. So when he messes up that cigar, that's just the wrapper leaf by itself. The money's in the material and not just the raw tobacco cost, but all the work it took to get it to where it's perfect to give him on the table. And then for them to screw it up, it's like, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? So, that's where the money is. The money is in the materials. That's where the money is. It's in, look, and you say it's in the labor, well, because so much labor was taken to get the materials at that point. So it's not a total lie, but most people in their heads, they always think it's the pears, the torsadors, boom, boom, boom. No, they're going to earn, between the two of them, they're going to earn somewhere between 24 and 31 cents a cigar for just average standard production in meat at the current rate. Yeah, when I have them rolling unicorns, they get paid considerably more because the pair that make unicorns, they can only make like 85 to 100 a day. It's a technically much more difficult cigar. Requires a lot more and focus for them. Where a standard Pareo, a Toro, I mean, honestly, a really good Bonchero and Rolera, they're almost like zombies. They get in the groove. They just do. You know what I mean? They're not. They're not focused the way all the videos make it sound and all the voiceovers and their narration and all of that. And that whole nonsense about, oh, we limit them to 225 a day. That's terrible. Because what you don't want to ever do with a pair is you don't want to slow them down. Whatever that natural flow is, where they do it well and
Right.
they do it comfortably, they produce the best cigars. Now, for some pairs, that might be 225 a day, but there's other pairs in the factory that's 410 cigars a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
You tell that guy that this pair that makes 410 really nice cigars every day that, oh, I want you to slow it down to 275. No, you actually get a worse grade product slowing them down. So
That makes sense.
you gotta let people do what people do.
Yeah. Well, it's like you could have the
Again, that doesn't make a nice slogan. It doesn't print well in a magazine. It's
Yeah.
a terrible quote. You know what I mean? But that's so true with most things in lives, right? They're not very that's why we ever got Mad Men to begin with, right? It's all about the framing and the advertising and the packaging and the this and the that.
Yeah.
Right? That's why there's no pesticide ever used on your tobaccos.
Yeah, never. You could have a rancher, raise the most beautiful cattle and then, have them butchered just properly and taken to a dry aging, sensei who's like so learned and perfect at dry aging beef, and then give it to a line cook. Yeah, give it to a line cook.
He hammers the steak. You give him the best thing in the world, right? Now you give the guy top sirloin, you can only do so much. Now, if you're a master chef, you know how to make a dish with that top sirloin that's divine, right? But yeah, you can take a perfectly beautifully dry aged ribeye, and the line cook can totally hammer it and ruin it.
Yeah. Cook it to 185 degrees.
Oh.
Oh, that makes me want to cry. All right, I think.
Is it time?
Is it time?
It is.
All right, it is now time for this week's Numero de los Muertos. And as always, Numero de los Muertos brought to us by our friends at Smoke Inn.
I'm Steve here with the GOAT to tell you about Smoke Inn's Cigar of the Month Club. Every month, I personally handpick 5 premium cigars. Another great feature is our Double Down Club. With a simple check mark, you can get double this great selections every month and save $10. Every month, there's a special discount code where if you like any of the selections, you can get them at a special discounted rate for our Cigar of the Month Club members. We've made it super simple. All you gotta do is log into your account. There's a little green button there. If it's green, you're active. You wanna take a break, going out of town, simply hit the button and you'll deactivate your membership. We get the stuff out on the 28th of every month. Our membership bills on the 28th, and we get every member's package out on the 28th if it's a shipping day. All delivered to your door for $34.95. 5 great reasons on what makes Smoking Cigar of the Month Club the best club out there. Check it out. Peace.
All right, Numero de los Muertos brought to us by Smoke Inn.
I didn't know the goat was a mute. I learned something. I had no clue.
It's selective mutism. All right, so the number this week is 113.
113.
And this is, I'm going to say, over the course of the last 34 years. Sorry. 44 years.
Last 44 years?
The last 44 years,
113
113 people have died from this. Now, as always, viewers, go ahead and put guesses in the comments. Eric, no, it's not a Pete Johnson cigar.
David Floyd says, is it
Fact.
fact or
Oh yeah, that's a good question, David. This is fact. Last week was fiction, or a couple weeks ago was
Couple weeks.
yeah. But this is a real stat from the
don't give it away. Is it people killed in a shark attack?
no shark attacks.
Choking in a seahorse?
No.
Is it on land?
Yes, it's on land.
Okay.
Is it on a farm?
No. Well, I mean, it could be, I guess, but
Secondhand smoke?
no, it's not secondhand smoke. Secondhand smoke stats are bullshit.
What about choking on unicorn dust that Steve Saka gave out at PCA?
No.
No?
Any guess, Steve?
Hell no. Why would I even bother?
Well, you got to play 20 questions. You got to try to narrow it down a little bit.
Okay, is it of a natural cause?
No.
Is it of an accident?
Yes.
Okay. And does it have anything to do with some sort of vehicle?
No.
Any sort of machinery?
Machinery, yes.
Okay.
Is it work
Is it?
related?
It
Is
is
it-
work. It is work related.
That was my next question. Is it work related? Okay.
Died while tracking a Sasquatch.
No.
Is it related to the mining industry,
No.
the timber industry?
Yes.
Ooh, he's on to something.
So I would say, is it falling from a tree or having a tree fall on you?
No.
Is it from a chainsaw accident?
No.
Wood chipper.
Yes.
There you go.
Derek
Wood chip.
Johnson.
It's
Right
wood
there.
chippers.
Derek
It's-
Johnson.
So
I can play this game. You just zero in.
yeah, that's all you got to do is narrow it down.
It's like making a blend. I do it all German like this.
So of these 113 deaths,
How stupid you have to be to die from a wood chipper?
well, and
You
they're
know, they're getting their sleeve caught, or they're getting part of their coat caught, and they're getting drug into the wood chipper. It's not morons sticking their heads in the wood chipper.
Have you never seen Fargo? That's how we get rid
no,
of
that
our
was
bodies up here.
that was intentional though. That wasn't. Yeah,
That's a murder.
that's a murder.
Allegedly.
Well, no, that was the murder was already
Part of
done.
it,
That
yeah.
was just hiding the body
Yeah.
or trying to dispose of the body. But it's interesting that it all wasn't just people who got stuck inside a wood chipper. So
Coming out the
of
backside.
these 113, 57 were actually killed when they were struck by the wood chipper. So
By the debris coming off the wood chipper, a chunk going flying or something.
Yeah. 41 were actually caught in the wood chipper and drawn into the wood chipper. That's how they were killed.
Brutal.
7 of them were run over by the truck that was towing the wood chipper. 4 of them were killed by the electrical system shorting out.
You avoid the truck and you somehow decide to squeeze your body between the truck and the wood chipper.
Yeah.
It is got some squirrel crazy bat shit right there. Like, I'm gonna cross the road now. I'm gonna cross the road now. Good God.
And 2 of them 2 of them were from people falling. I don't know how that relates to a wood chipper, whether maybe they were on top of the wood chipper and fell off. I don't know. And the last 2 were heat stroke.
Oh.
So probably, I mean, those engines run hot.
By
So,
the way,
yeah.
I feel bad we're making fun of wood chipper deaths, and there's Tom with a very sobering message.
Oh, Tom. Yeah.
Not my finest internet moment.
Well, Numero de los Muertos is, doesn't pull any punches.
No.
What I find weird is you're telling me that, like, almost like clockwork, like on average 113 people die every year. That one year is 111, another year it's 117. It's like always in that number range.
No, this is 113 total since 1982.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, I got it now. I was thinking 113 people a year. 7
Oh,
yeah, right.
The truck and the trailer. I mean, this is like serious Darwin Award shit.
That's Matt. Here, come here.
Yeah. Hey, would you look inside? I think something's stuck in there. Can you look in a little closer?
Yeah.
Is that a bottle of bourbon in there?
I would go after it. I would go, depending on the bottle.
I could see getting killed by stuff coming out of that wood chipper chute. Because
Oh,
some of those
absolutely.
wood chippers are like seriously high powered, man.
Yeah.
You get a chunk that comes out that wasn't fully chipped. You know, it's like a 1-inch cube,
Yeah.
1.5 inch, odd shape, getting flung at you, hit you in the head. Yeah, I can see that dropping you.
Yeah, I was on a land clearing site once, and we had a chipper on there.
Just keep bringing up the audience there.
Oh man! But
Yeah.
we had a wood chipper on that site that we were putting whole trees with like 14-inch trunks, because you have a bobcat there with the claws, and you just load the whole tree in, and it literally it'll take down, it'll turn a whole tree into mulch in like 15 seconds.
Jesus.
Yeah, those things are nothing to fuck around with. So that was this week's Numero de los Muertos.
Who started that segment?
That's sponsored by Smoke Inn. That's
yeah, I missed the whole goat thing. I figured how such a short. I'm the attention span.
All right,
I didn't even realize that those Cigar of the Months were only $59.95.
Oh, that's a good deal. That's and there's theirs don't mess around either. They
I know what I charge them for the cigars that go in there, so he ain't making any money on mine.
no, they're not.
So there's really not a lot of profit in that. I can tell you that for sure.
Oh yeah, that's for customer introductions right there. All right, let's jump into this week's lightning round. Lightning Round is brought to you by J.C. Newman Cigar Company, America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker. Creators of the popular Brick House, Perla Del Mar, Diamond Crown, and The American, J.C. Newman Cigar Company operates out of their 112-year-old El Reloj cigar factory in historic Cigar City, Tampa, Florida. For more information on their cigars or their visitor experience, please visit jcnewman.com. All right. So first lightning round question tonight for you, Steve, is what is the most overrated fast food item?
That's easy. It's that fucking McRib.
Thank you. Oh,
He called it before.
I called it before the show. I was like,
Yeah.
I hope he says the McRib.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Oh, I hate that sandwich so much. I haven't had one, honestly, since the 80s.
Yeah.
Seriously, since like they first came out.
Here's the sad part. I had this is disgusting. I hadn't had one in like 7-8 years. I fall sucker prey to the internet hype.
Yeah.
McRib. Okay. Maybe I'll give the McRib a second shot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And foolishly, I do the drive-through and I just get 2 McRibs. Okay.
Yeah.
I get 2 McRibs. I get nothing else. I take one bite of one of the McRibs. I'm like, I'm a really fat bastard. And this. It was so disgusting. One bite, 2 McRibs, right in the trash. Oh my god.
Oh,
That is the worst. You know, the other thing I think is a little overrated, and this is going to get me some grief, and it's not that it isn't good, but I don't think Chick-fil-A is as good as everyone seems to rave about. I would rather eat the Popeyes chicken sandwich personally.
Yeah.
no, I between the two, if I had to pick one, I pick Popeyes all day over Chick-fil-A. Yes.
I mean, Chick-fil-A is fine. I mean, the spicy one's decent, but I mean, I don't know. It doesn't. And I don't think that their waffle fries are anything to really write home about. You know, I'll tell you who really irritates me. It's In-N-Out. I like In-N-Out burgers a lot. Their French fries suck.
Unless they're fresh and you eat them in the first 15 seconds, then they go to hell.
Yeah, they're just kind of like they're weak. They have a very weak fry game in In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should figure out how to improve that.
Yeah. All right. So on the flip side, what do you think is a really underrated fast food item that doesn't get, and it could just be the simple, basic American classic?
It's Arby's French dip.
Oh yeah.
Arby's French dip is just delicious. I mean, literally, you got that cup of broth and sodium and more sodium and more sodium, and you're dipping that sandwich into and all soggy and juicy. Yeah, the Arby's French dip does not get the love it deserves. That is a masterpiece of fast food.
Yes.
I was hoping you said White Castle.
I like White Castle a lot.
White Castle's pretty good.
But White Castle just doesn't. The problem with White Castle is you end up eating a dozen of those little bastards, and then you end up like really regretting it because it's really too much. You know, and you get. And they're like White Castles are like potato chips. You can't just eat 3 of those things, right? You can't. You get the bag of 8. You get the bag of 12. And really, you really should stop at about 4. Is probably where you should stop.
Yeah. No.
Because they're just so addictive.
Yeah. So I'll give you a hack, by the way, for next time you order a beef French dip from Arby's. Get the beef and cheddar sauce on the French dip.
Really?
Add that. Oh, it's fantastic. But you still dip it in the broth, but it's ridiculous. It adds a whole new. It's fantastic.
And the other thing, Arby's makes one of my favorite things to drink when I'm smoking a cigar. I love their Jamocha shake.
Jamocha shake.
The Jamocha shake, that kind of half coffee, half chocolate. I know it's unnatural and processed and nothing but crap, but it's just a wonderful compliment to a cigar. The Jamocha shake.
Absolutely.
Tommy says it makes him constipated. 90% of the people I know, it has the opposite effect. White Castle.
Yeah.
What makes you constipated?
It does the opposite. It cleans me right the hell out.
Yeah.
Whoosh.
Wow. Does alcohol make you less drunk? Because that's I've never been constipated after eating White Castle. It goes through me like a pneumatic tube. All right.
It's weird, there's so many things that like people love the milkshakes at Five Guys. I don't think they make particularly good milkshakes. They're
I'm not a fan of Five Guys.
I'm not a big fan of
stellar.
Yeah, that's the only thing I like at Five Guys. I don't like the burgers.
I like the burger, but I get the condiments I like. I mean, do I think it's like world class, world shattering? No, but it's a decent burger.
I like the dogs better than the burgers at Five Guys.
Yeah, but the French fries for me, the Cajun spiced ones,
Cajun spice French fries.
Yeah, those are monstrous.
All day.
All right, I saw that comment by David Floyd. Next time I go to Chick-fil-A, I didn't even know they had a caramel shake. I'll try that.
Yeah, I might try that.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A has great breakfast sandwiches. They're like honey.
Yeah, I actually like their honey biscuit chicken.
Yes.
I like those better. And the other thing, what Chick-fil-A has is they just have great employees.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the fast food restaurants, they're the most conscientious. Like they don't do anything perfect, right? It's a fast food restaurant, but the In-N-Out people have good employees too, right? And you can tell the staff is more like when I drive through my local Wendy's, it's literally like I'm going through a methadone clinic there, right? Literally every place in the joint is like a methadone. It's like crazy,
That's fucked up.
All right, Steve.
I'll never watch this podcast because I'm never getting anything without spit ever again.
All right. So if one of the big networks was to give you your own late night talk show, who would be your first celebrity guest?
Wow, never thought about this. Be somebody with a really nice rack. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I'm shallow like that, of course. You got to do something to offset the ugly, right? So, yeah, you get some hot chick to. I don't know. I'll never have my own late night show. This is my late night show.
We're the hot chicks.
Yeah, we're the hot chick. You can do better than us, Steve. I mean,
there seems to be less of the Instagram cigar chicks lately, or maybe I'm not following the right people and I just keep blocking it. But I don't see as much of them as I was seeing like 2-3 years ago. It seems like it's died down a bit.
I'll be honest. I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram anymore.
Maybe it's a COVID thing,
I did spend a lot of time. Yeah,
no, maybe the chicks and the Instagram stuff.
It could be. It could be. Yeah, they had a lot of free time.
Built it up more. They bored at home taking pictures.
Now they got real jobs to do. Maybe.
So, Steve, if somebody was going to make a documentary about your life, what celebrity voice would you want to do the narration?
Oh yeah, you want Mike Rowe, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
There's a few like just easy choices. James Earl Jones, Morgan Freeman, but yeah, Mike Rowe.
Yeah.
He's probably my favorite. You know who I like a lot?
Who's that?
I like Leif Schreiber.
Oh, yeah.
He does the Hard Knocks voice narration.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize it was Leif Schreiber, to be honest with you. And but I think he does a really good job on there. But yeah, I think Mike Rowe, he's probably one of my favorite narrators.
Yeah, Leif Schreiber, and it is hard to know his real voice because he's done accents in so many movies.
Yeah.
And like still one of my favorites, the movie Goon, the hockey movie. He's so good in that movie.
I think Daffy Duck would be pretty cool.
Shut the fuck up, Daffy Duck. Oh, you're off the show. That's it. You're off.
It was a good run. It was a quick run. It's good. It's all right.
Holy crap. That was Daffy Duck. I'm going to think about that for a while. I'll get back to you. Maybe for your documentary about your life.
It'd be great.
All right. Let's jump into this week's Notable Smokables, brought to us by Luciano Cigars. Notable cigars, notable passion, notable purpose. So each week, we all name a cigar that we smoked recently that was notable to us. Now, this could be a cigar that's been on the market for decades that we smoked for the first time in a very long time, or this could be a cigar that's brand new to the market that we smoked for the first time ever. Now, obviously, Steve, you're smoking mostly your own stuff, but I know sometimes you reach outside of your own portfolio of some other people's cigars. Is there anything you smoked recently that stood out to you?
I just smoked a Halligan. It was really good.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
What did you
Actually, I haven't smoked anything. I smoke less and less of other people's stuff.
Okay.
And part of the reason why is we have so much now.
Right.
That I've covered a much wider spectrum of what my cigar needs are. And the other problem is with us having so much, there's just so much more for me to have to constantly smoke, to just kind of keep on top of it and make sure that everything's right, that there isn't really a lot of time anymore to smoke as much variety as I used to smoke just because of the work obligations.
Yeah. Justin, what's notable for you?
We had like a huge bonfire. I'm talking like probably the size of your garage over the weekend over at my kids.
Did you get a burn permit?
Yeah, they did. Actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You got a firefighter sitting right here. You better make
So
sure you get
they tried to get it lit. It was pretty big. But I had a Tatuaje, the Chuck from probably 3-4 years ago that's been sitting around.
Yeah, nice.
It was good.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Raul, but what about you?
Well, it's going to be a Mexican sandwich. The papatilla.
The polpetta.
Thank you. He's going to fucking work.
The polpetta.
The polpetta.
It's not a Mexican sandwich.
Excuse me, but you use
it's a meatball.
Yeah. Don't you use fillers? I mean,
no, it's
fillers for that.
It's the table trimmings from all of the Maduro productions. So it would be Mi Querida, Tricky Traca, Umbagog, and now some red meat lovers, but not all the materials. We sort out the trimmings and we only use some of them. And then it's the Connecticut broadleaf, the outside cuts that we can't use on any cigars that are actually longer than 4 inches. So it's more of a broadleaf kind of sandwich than anything else. But
I've been smoking all your stuff this week, just getting ready for the show, and I really enjoyed that. It just surprised me. So
how am I supposed to take that? What does that mean? You're surprised that you liked it. What does that mean? You were expecting it to taste like shit.
I love this shit, and I've been smoking a lot lately. Me Korea Black.
The polpettas are harsher than my other cigars, right? But oddly enough, I think this first batch of polpettas that's going to go nationwide, I think it's going to be some of the smoothest polpettas because they've been in my warehouse now for already 6 weeks, and we still haven't shipped them. And I was thinking we're going to get away with shipping them in November, but I talked to Cindy and Dave and Yvonne about it, and they're saying, can we just wait till January? Because we're still struggling to get all the red meat out. We're struggling to get Krakatoa out, and Holiday Stillwell's about to land, and we just have so much to push out the door, and we have a small staff. And so polpettas have now, as of officially yesterday, been delayed for a January release. So
okay,
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. And it'll be my cheapest cigar. It's going to be like, I think it's MSRP 7.25.
Oh wow.
So yeah. Well, look,
Yeah.
it's a price. It's a price based on what the cost is to make it. It's just
Sure.
like-
Well, it's for cold weather. Steve. If
That's the
for
reason why I wanted to ship it in November, because I'm missing all those November, December turns of people smoking in the cold weather. But
yeah,
I can only ask my team to do so much. Right? They're human.
yeah.
So January it is.
Well, my notable this week was actually a week ago. So our pregame cigar last week, you gave me the Blackwork Studio Hawaiian Hornet.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good cigar.
Pineapple flavor. What makes it Hawaiian?
Well, it's for the that wine place, our field wine,
Fujioka's, right?
Yeah.
Fujioka's, or is it Tamora? I get confused as to which is the wine place.
Isn't it?
Okay, can answer that question.
Isn't it Our Fields Wine Company?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And there's a few places that have done exclusives for them. Like Crown Heads has done exclusives for them, and Blackworks has done exclusives for them. And that Hawaiian Hornet was a really nice cigar. Yeah. Thank you for that, brother.
It was good. Yeah.
So that was this week's Notable Smokables, brought to you by Luciano Cigars, improving lives through fine cigars. Visit lucianocigars.com to learn more.
Now, let me say this. If I'm Luciano,
Yeah.
I want a different segment. He advertises a segment where you talk about what other great company cigars you have.
Shh. He knows what the segment's about. He knows he's the one who wanted that segment.
That guy's not the sharpest tool in the shed. I mean, come on.
He asked for that segment.
I stand by my statement. Just saying. I'm just saying. I ain't there for that.
Oh shit. All right, let's talk about some coming attractions on How About That Cigar Live, brought to us by AJ Fernandez. Born and raised in Cuba, AJ Fernandez now produces unparalleled premium cigars in Esteli, Nicaragua. The AJ Fernandez portfolio of cigars provides blend, strength, and flavor profiles to match the preferences of any premium cigar consumer. Whether it's New World, Dias de Gloria, San Lotano, Enclave, or Bellas Artes, you are sure to be satisfied with a premium cigar from AJ Fernandez. All right, so next week, November 6th, this is pretty cool. We have Kellen Gorbett, and Kellen is from Standard and Twain, and we learned about them from Instagram and from some other friends of ours.
Yep.
They send you can purchase cigar samplers from them, and they send them with fresh new bands on them that they have put their own band with a QR code on it. So you smoke the cigar and then you scan the QR code after you're done smoking it, so you can find out what it was that you smoked. And I think that's kind of cool, kind of fun. So we're going to talk to them about that next week. Then on the 13th of November, we have Brett J from Tobaccology to talk about the Halligan and some other interesting projects. Then on November 20th, Mr. Jeremiah Meritfeld returning to the program for the second time. So, Steve, thank you so much for being on episode 220, my friend. Great to see you again.
Appreciate you, brother.
This was easy, man.
I told you, I promised to keep it under 4 hours.
I still got booze left. What am I supposed to do now?
We can
Hey,
talk afterwards.
yeah,
We can talk afterwards.
After we go off the air, we don't have to be done. We'll talk off the air. But yeah, thank you, brother, for being on with us. If you would please give our viewers and listeners an idea, where's the best place for them to keep up with everything going on with Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust?
It's definitely on Facebook for me. I'm an old guy, so I use Facebook. So in fact, my staff learns a lot about what's going on from reading my Facebook posts, which they give me grief about all the time. But yeah, I mean, it's the best place. I mean,
okay. Fantastic. Well, brother, thank you again for being on with us. Stick in the green room after we're off the air, and we'll talk a little bit. All right, viewers and listeners, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening to How About That Cigar. We are so grateful for you guys being with us. Please be sure to, I'm losing my words here. please be sure to click on all of the buttons. So there's a like button, there's a subscribe button. You will find that on Facebook and YouTube, and it really helps us out a lot. And we are grateful to you guys for that for 220 episodes.
Yeah,
Very
we appreciate
grateful
you
for that.
guys. Thanks a lot.
Make sure you find us on all your favorite social media platforms at HBT Cigar. If you have questions for us, you can email us on our website, howaboutthatcigar.com. And of course, until we see you guys next time, burn cigars,
not bridges.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Any comments, opinions, viewpoints, or statements presented or uttered by guests on the HBTC podcast, HBTC live video streams, and all other media from HBT Media LLC are solely those of the individual and do not necessarily represent the opinions or viewpoints of How About That Cigar or its parent company, HBT Media LLC, any of our advertising partners, or the premium cigar industry. The primary purpose of How About That Cigar is to entertain and to encourage activity and growth within the community of people who enjoy or want to learn about the enjoyment of premium cigars.